Hi, this is Dan Gilvazan, and you're listening to the Geekcast Radio Network.
Jazz here, and I am so digging the Geekcast Radio Network.
Cliff Jumper, commence countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, Toycast. Oh, yes. Listen in to the only toy podcast you will ever need.
Hello and welcome to Toycast. This is episode 145. I'm, of course, TF2 and Mike. Joining me, sort of as always, is Josh the FloorBurger. Hello, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, and returning, because I don't remember when the hell the last time he was on this show, is Mr. A-Das Baron. Hello, sir.
Hi, I think it was September.
Was it really? Good
I
Lord.
think so. That's when I was looking at the prologue.
Yep, Toys of Summer, yeah, because we started doing a whole bunch of Origin stuff. Yep. So the three of us are back. This is a display case episode. And holy crap, folks. Let's just break the glass.
Don't touch!
All right, so episode 145, I kind of sort of mentioned off air that I was going to cheat. We usually bring one toy per person per episode, but since these kind of go together, how can I not talk about the Blue Bomber and the Red Rocker Rock'em Sock'em Robots Funko Pops all at the same time?
It's a mouthful.
You know, say what you will about Funko.
And I do.
Yeah, and I ignore you or I beat you the hell up. If they ever do
Sorry,
if they ever do a Funko Pop moment, like just recently they released the Funko Pop moment of Cena and The Rock in the ring from whichever wrestler. Cena looks like he has hair this time, so I'm assuming it's one of the earlier bouts that they did. But basically, if Funko ever did a Rock'em Sock'em Robots moment where they were in the game ring, these individual pops literally look like, talk about ripping the game pieces right off the board. It looks amazing. And I didn't even know, and I had been a fan of Rock'em Sock'em when I was a kid. I do not remember them having names back then. I know they did, but I did not remember what the hell they were. And then when
they have names?
Yeah, Red Rocker and Blue Bomber. Because Funko came out with these in... When did they release these? I don't know. It's on the bottom of the box, and I can't read that small, tiny print. What I love about...
I don't remember those names at all.
I don't know. Maybe they just made them up. I'm not sure. I don't have a Rock'em Sock'em Wikipedia link pulled up at the moment. I love how it says on here, the world's only fighting robots. Technically, that's not true, because the Autobots and Decepticons fight each other for 4 million years, but anyway. Like I said, for me, what I like about these is I love that they are not, because they're morphing the Funko Pop style with the Rock'em Sock'em Robot style, even though, yes, they do have the black soulless eyes, it doesn't look like it is that soulless because the head is the heads on them are so not your standard Funko Pop head. So that is very, very cool.
See, I did not have an actual Rock'em Sock'em Robot set as a kid. However, I had the Ninja Turtle version, which had Michelangelo and Shredder. Those were fun until like the locking mechanisms of the head stopped working.
Yeah.
I didn't have the turtle versions. There was the Karate Fighters sort of, no pun intended, spin-off later on.
The figures that had the little gun things that you plug into their backs?
No, you would put them into you peg them into handles basically, and you would spin a knob on the handle, and then they would flip around and kick each other in the chest and go flying.
Interesting.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Yep. Those are my choices for this evening. Absolutely love them. At some point or another, I will take them out of their boxes, but that's going to be after I eventually find a new place to live. Yay!
According to this eBay listing, they tried to do an actual action figure series of Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
I could have sworn there was a cartoon series and another type series as well. So
it's no Super Soaker Man.
No, it is not Super Soaker Man, but it looks like they took some stuff from, what do you call it, Crash Test Dummies, and it looks like just robot wars, and they fall apart and they break apart as they punch each other. So they took a basic kids boxing game and turned it into kind of a Terminator type thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, as you find folks will hear in this audio right here. That's the whole point of the commercial.
They're slugging it out in the middle of the ring. And there's a hard drive to the top. And Blue Bomber's block is knocked off. His block is knocked off?
Sure, but you can press it right back on again. It's just part of the action with the world's only boxing robots, the Rock'em Sock'em Robots by Marx. Takes 2 managers to handle the fighters and lots of skill to win. With these control levers, you can keep your fighters in motion to duck punches. When you press this plunger, he throws a right uppercut. Press the other plunger, and there's a left jab. Lots of exciting action and fun for everyone when the world's only boxing robots battle it out.
The Blue Bomber's looking for an opening, and there it is. That's the end of round 2.
Just push the flying head back, and you're ready for round 3.
Boy, this is the greatest.
You bet. The world's only boxing robots. Get the Rock'em Sock'em Robots by Mark.
At the end of it, I'm going to knock your block off, and that's how you beat the game. That's what it was.
I just threw it in our chat.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, Mattel 2000. God, that was 22 years ago. Jesus. And I remember them a long time before then, too, because looking at the game was originally available in the in the UK in the 1970s. Although under the name Raving Bonkers, because, oh my God, anything that says war in the United Kingdom, I mean, you can't have Ninja Turtles, you have to have Hero Turtles.
God. I never quite understood what the issue was with nunchucks. What was it, in the 70s? And then working their way into the 80s where they were like banned? Well, like, a sword is far more lethal than a nunchuck, technically.
So this is episode 145 of Toycast. If you go over to the pull bag, episode 470, my buddy Ryan and I talked about the Punisher and his new change of weaponry and things like that, because morons here in the United States are using the Punisher logo for things that they shouldn't be using it for, and whatever.
Have they edited them to look like phones?
I don't know. No, I don't know. Anyway, point is they changed. Marvel has now changed the Punisher's weapons from guns to swords or knives or whatever, and I'm thinking to myself, a knife and a sword, like I've seen some stuff recently with knives and swords in media, like Mortal Kombat and other things, where it's like, that's a lot more bloody than getting shot in the head. I don't know. It is what it is, but yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I mean,
we can split hairs with it, but
easier to reattach.
Oh, Lord. Okay, Josh, what do you got?
All right, so for my first one, I'm going to talk, and I've mentioned this one in previous podcasts, the 1988/89 release of Food Fighters. I'm going with the leader of the refrigerator rejects, and that is Mean Wiener.
Yo, Burger, chew on this.
You'll never cut the mustard, Mean Wiener!
Food fight!
Your history, Private pizza, pow! And your lunch. Combat curtain, fire!
What's going on?
Joy's playing with this food again, Mom.
Food fighters, figures in combat carton each sold separately. Toys do not walk and talk.
Mean Wiener, if you have not seen Mean Wiener, is essentially what feels like and looks like a dog chew toy. So it's that soft, rubbery material that you'll get for a chew toy.
Yep.
And it's hollow and it's very squeezable. It does feel like squishy kids play food that you might see in a little kitchen play set. It's got sculpted on eyes, nose, a weird little tongue dangling out of what would be the mouth, and some military garb, sort of a military hat and backpack. He comes with a little blue pistol, and he was a random toy I got, and if memory serves me right, I got it at a Dominic's grocery store in Chicago, which is now gone. But I got it with my grandmother one time, and I think I was too young to really understand the background of the figure, that he was actually a bad guy, and he just worked his way into the rest of my toy universe. He just happened to be a hot dog that was quite popular with everybody else. He was a hero just like anybody else, and didn't know there was a whole line to it until I go to a friend's house 2-3 years later, and he's got all of it. He's got every single figure, every single vehicle, and he didn't care about it. It was just another toy to him.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved it, and I actually started writing stories. So when you're in 4th grade, 3rd, 4th grade, 5th grade, you start writing narratives and creative stories, and I wrote stories about the food fighters and created my own, and it was the only one I had for years, and unfortunately, we lost him, sadly, to a exploding sewage pipe, toilet pipe, whatever you want to call it, the pipe that takes the waste out of the house.
Yes, that would be the sewage pipe.
Yeah, burst, and my dad used a big plastic bucket of toys to catch it, and it just also happened. And obviously, if it's raw sewage going into something like that, you can't salvage it. But it was worse because it had one of those blue toilet cleaning tablets in the toilet tank at the time.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh.
What a crappy predicament.
So. Yeah. It could have legit just been just the blue water that burst. Like, there might not have actually been any waste in it. But unfortunately, a lot of toys were lost to... I never really came up with a snappy name for that. The crappening, I'm not sure. But it was one of the ones that was lost in the crappening. And it was sad because it was a toy that my grandmother had gotten me, and she passed in like 2001. So years later she passed, but it was always just kind of one of these really fun, really random kind of toys that were commonplace in the late 80s, early 90s. And then it wouldn't be until I got into college that I got the full set again, got him back. So the one I have right now is not my original, but he's good enough. And he kicked off a huge collection for me for a while, where I was collecting every food fighter I could get my hands on. So he's one of my little favorites, and I enjoy him. And I actually, as much as I give Pop a hard time, I really think Funko Pop should try to grab the Food Fighters license and try to.
Oh, they absolutely should.
There's no reason for them not to. It's their style. It'd be easy.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this thing, and I can hear, and I wish I knew the guy's name that did it, because I heard it recently when I was editing the last episode of the podcast with Toy Guru. The guy that did the old Mattel commercials when they're going through the preamble at the end, like, only from Mattel. Like, I'm looking at this picture you sent us and the front of the packaging of it, and I'm like, yeah, that you do mix it a little differently and maybe put a little relish in there, and Funko, there you go, you got a whole new thing.
And I love the art style, and when you really dive deep into the line and you see the coloring book and the puzzles and the card back stuff, somebody really took a lot of time and passion into doing this. And I believe it might be a French artist. I should have done a little bit more research before coming into the podcast, but there was some thought into this, and I've heard rumors that there were supposed to be aliens. That was the whole background of the actual toy line, should it have gone on any further. Mm-hmm. Which would explain a lot, but it's one of those very random toy lines that I think was just out at the perfect time and really exposed my love for anthropomorphic food. And that was born in Pee Wee Herman. That sounds really weird to say it like that, but you know what I mean. Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse had the claymation anthropomorphic food. Mm-hmm. And I always love those scenes. And this thing was just like having one of those little puppets in my hand. So that's Mean Wiener. He's my guy. I'm fist bumping him right now as I sit here, and he stares at me.
That's kind of creepy. Das, what do you got?
So for today's episode, I happen to have the Marvel Legends Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack Juggernaut. So let's go back to, 2017, 2016? We had like no X-Men in representation in Marvel Legends because of all sorts of legal brouhaha. And then by then they started trickling them in because of rights acquisitions and what have you, and Marvel was lessening their grip on what they're licensing out and whatnot. So there was that Juggernaut Build-A-Figure wave, which of course I got. Juggernaut is probably one of my favorite X-Men villains. And at the time, I thought it was a really good figure. He had some really nice dents in his helmet and everything. There were figures in the wave which I didn't want, but I wanted all of them to build Juggernaut. And then a couple years later, they announced this 2-pack, and I'm thinking, you're trying to sell me on the same damn figure again. Well, they sold me on the same damn figure again.
Yeah.
But this was mainly so I could get a classic Colossus. And then upon examining this new Juggernaut, yes, they used the same mold, but they did a number of additions and alterations to this, which make it the superior Juggernaut, which I hate to say dethrones my Marvel Selects ones, which I still love to this day. It's just, articulation and what have you. So for this one, they got rid of the belt. They gave him more comic accurate colors, different pairs of hands. His initial helmet is not ball-peened, so to speak. It's smooth. He has pupilless eyes. I can go without that sometimes. But his teeth are all kind of messed up, and then he has an alternate Kane Marco head with a busted up dome that you can put on top of him, like he just had the crap kicked out of him. And this is a big, chunky figure, which I just love posing. I do like those really bulky figures, because often you'll get a bulky figure, but because he's so massive, he can't move or do anything. I've run into that with figures before, but this Juggernaut is fully posable, and I have no complaints over that.
Hey, that was fun!
I actually never got that one. I got most of the figures from the Build-A-Figure wave, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I ended up just selling those at a toy show, because I still had the original Toy Biz one. But
one with the little chest armor?
Well, there was the X-Men Classics one that
everyone wanted, which in hindsight is super hideous.
It's hideous now. It was pretty well done for the time. But I also had the Toy Biz, the original Marvel Legends Series 6, I think it was. Deadpool was in that wave too.
Mm-hmm.
And I still found that one to be an excellent figure, even if its proportions by today's standards are ape-like, to say the least.
Oh, yeah.
But I do like those big chunky figures, and I always admired that one, but I couldn't pull the trigger on it, because I always had that one version that I liked, and I don't even know where it is right now.
Like, he comes with so much already, but like the one thing that's missing, which would have been really neat, is a to scale Crimson Gem of Sidorak to go with him.
They always leave the one accessory you want out, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, like, it would be a cool addition. I don't necessarily need it, because in the end, what would I do with it? But True. It's nice to have.
You'd probably lose it, but yeah.
They would probably give him some sort of action feature to throw it or launch it or something.
Ooh,
that's what I'd like to see.
Could we get a Marvel Legends since we're getting X-Men animated figures, let's get the guy who got Juggernaut's powers in that one episode, and not in the Juggernaut outfit, but in his disco boogie outfit, his white disco boogie outfit.
Oh, Lord.
I have to Google this now.
Wow.
That was one of my favorite episodes. There's a Power Rangers reference in it.
Yes, there is.
And I just Googled Juggernaut disco outfit. Wow, the search results are interesting.
You might want to put X-Men in there somewhere.
I don't think that X is going to help.
Well, it's already pretty bad. For anybody listening at home, if you really want to see some interesting results, just Google Juggernaut disco outfit, go right to images, and I think my safe search is not on. So yes, that would explain what I'm seeing. Moving on.
Wow. Damn. All right, the last thing I will say about the Rock'em Sock'em Robots, I have looked this up. Yes, Blue Bomber, Red Rocker were always their names from the beginning, and the only reason why I know this is because the article says that they were renamed in the UK in the 70s, Basher Bonker and Biffer Bonker. What the?
Sounds right. Feels right.
I just don't even have any idea anymore, folks. No clue. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say about your ketchup toy, Josh?
I like a lot of toy lines that take these risks into the bonkers and obscure and random and just do something fun that can catch the imagination of a kid who doesn't know anything better about it and doesn't know the lore, doesn't know the history of it, and just gives them the chance to enjoy it and just be a kid with it. And Food Fighters always stick with me for that, because what's easier to play with than a food soldier in your fridge that you can just leave open for hours and increase your family's electric bill.
And spoil all your food. Great. Alrighty then. Das, anything else you want to say about good old Jughead there?
This was a figure earlier, quote unquote, earlier in the line where they started giving us variants, so to speak, of different characters or different versions where, like, if you didn't like it the first time around, they're more than likely going to reissue it in a better looking way than it had initially been shown, or in your ideal version of it. Yep. Now, that being said, I'm still waiting on a decent Hobgoblin Hasbro. You keep giving me like this extreme demorphed face with a shred cape. I don't want that. I still have my Toy Biz one, which if it weren't for his scrawny legs, still holds up.
It's over on my other shelf, and I'm sitting at my desk, so I can't actually go over and get it. You should get the most decent Hobgoblin you're going to get is from Funko, honestly, because there are two versions. There are two versions of him. This is from Spider-Man, the animated series from the 90s, and I have the glow-in-the-dark version of him riding on his glider, and it's the only Hobgoblin I will ever have because I've seen some of those normal figures of him, and they are very indecent.
And I've seen that one at Target recently, and just like the color, like the brightness that they used on it, very nice.
Yeah, that glow, man. Whew, that glow is like literally every... Funko has done good and bad things with their glow-in-the-dark things, and sometimes it's they only put the glow stuff on one part of it, or sometimes they'll put it over the whole thing. This thing, man, it's like whatever you do, don't put your Gizmo next to it because you can't have Gizmo exposed to light after midnight. Anyway.
I think you just combined two rules there, sir.
Two rules? What rule? I don't live by any rules. What are you talking about?
You can't feed Gizmo after midnight. You just can't expose him to bright light at any time.
Oh, well,
he's not like okay at 5:30 p.m. to just flash him.
I can let the man live dangerously.
I can tell you right now, at 5:30 p.m. here in the Pacific time zone, the sun is still out, and it is bright as hell in this apartment, and that Hobgoblin is not going to glow. So in order to get my Hobgoblin glow-in-the-dark reference, you kind of had to, combine two different rules. It doesn't matter. I break the rules around here.
Well, I will say I liked the Toy Biz Spider-Man Hobgoblin, I think from, I want to say maybe 2000, maybe 2002.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he had one of the best gliders for any of the goblins. It was pretty big. I'll see if I can find a good picture of it. But
is that the one they repurposed for Demo Goblin?
Probably, I think so, yeah.
And he just had this really nice size glider that just worked really well. And of course I sold it.
Of course you did, because you sell everything. You even sold your soul before. All right, folks, that's going to do it for this episode.
That's how I got on this show.
No, because I would have actually charged you money for that. Anyway,
You think I'm worth something? Yes. I'll take the compliment when I can get it.
No, it just means I know you'll sell out.
Hey, I don't sell out. I buy in.
Ooh.
Oh, God. All right, Mr. AEW.
That's actually a Seth Rollins reference.
What?
Yes, I know, but they also used it over on AEW a couple of times, too.
Well, I don't have TNT, so what?
I don't have TNT either, but I still know. Anyway, that's going to do it for this display case. As you can tell, folks, we are all really shattered around here. Das, where can the people find you online, sir?
What do I use nowadays?
He doesn't even know.
No, Facebook and Instagram for _Das Baron.
There you go. Josh, what about you?
FloorBurger 553 on the Twitters. You'll never see anything creative because I just try to be funny to respond to other people's tweets, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
We know.
Yes.
Wait.
And I am at
follow me?
Oh, the jig is up. Ah, damn it.
Shoot.
At A-Das Baron on Twitter as well. Anyway, I'm at TFU and Mike, and we will catch you next time here on Toycast.